So, dear colleagues, today I'm inviting you to the next day's session. I think I'm sure it will be very interesting. And our first presenter is Chiara Romano Johansson. So, she's from. Can I correctly say you are from Italy, but living in Stockholm in Sweden, and you are very experienced in textile conservation and restoration. I'm right or not?
Yes, I've been working for almost 15 years with textile conservation, but I'm now head of collections at the Nordic Museum in Stockholm since 3 years.
Yeah, and you are learning, your studies has begun in Italy.
Correct.
Very good school. So, Chiara, let's start. We're waiting your perfect presentation.
Thank you for the nice presentation. Tere hommikos. Hello, everyone. So I want to say also thank you to Nele and to the board of the Society of Estonian Conservators for inviting me. I'm truly grateful to be here and to be able to connect with this wonderful community of conservators from the Baltic states. So today I will talk about climate management in practice, hands-on. But before doing that, I would like to emphasize for a minute the theme of this conference, conservation in a shifting landscape. Well, when I got the invitation and I read the website, I got almost a goosebumps because I think one of the changes we are seeing is that we are enable us to talk and be open in the conservation community. And I thought it was so well-spot theme and so nice to be in a forum where you are encouraged to finally share mistakes and failures. So that's what I'm going to do today. I will talk about trial and errors at Nordiska Museet. I will talk about why climate maintenance has been a challenge and how the strategy has evolved during the past 2 years. But before going into the presentation, I just want to break a bit the ice and ask here, how many of you have been working like first line, hands-on with the climate management? Wonderful. So then please come to me after the presentation. I really want to connect with all of you. So you know perhaps the struggle. So let's give you some context here. Nordiska Museet, as it stands today, represents only a section of the original vision of its founder, Arthur Hazelius. The initial plans envision a building 4 times as large, with extensive galleries and space for major national celebrations. But over time, financial limitations and the shifting priorities result in a scaled-down realization, which is more or less what you see here, highlighted by the red line. So what remains today is the building you see on the right. That is a picture from 1907 when the museum was opened. And what actually dominates the museum structure is the iconic main hall, originally designed as a big banquet hall, approximately 30 meters high, made mainly of brick and stone. So over the decades, the museum has been gradually modified to meet the changing exhibition needs, of course, but often without aligning these interventions with the building's passive ventilation system. And this is of course, as you can imagine, an important factor that affects the climate in the galleries, especially during summer times. So what I'll focus on today is the climate system that has been built in our latest permanent exhibition open in February 2024. This exhibition is located on the top floor of the building, you see here red marked, and natural ventilation plays a major role here, meaning that outdoor temperature and humidity directly influence the indoor environment. Norrbor exhibition, Norrbor means in Swedish people from the Nordic countries, is the largest permanent exhibition ever staged at Nordiska Museet. It took 5 years for its full realization. About 100 people were involved, 16 of which were conservators. The exhibition spans 5 centuries of Nordic lifestyles, and there are about 4,000 objects on display in big size, very big size, climatized showcases. And I want to say that, just a little comment, that here this looks really bright, but this picture have been modified with Photoshop and for the website and social media, so this is not the actual lighting in the museum. Due to architectonical limitation, few display cases are positioned close to external walls, as you can see in this example, and part of the exhibition remains also open to the large central main hall, which has no climate regulation, and you see the opening to the main hall in this picture on the right. So, getting to the climate system. So a big challenge for the team who planned the climate system was the absence of pressurized water and drainage on this floor. So it was not possible to install a centralized climate system. Instead was developed a system that uses small standalone units, which require manual refilling and emptying of water. What you see here is just a quarter, less of a quarter of the whole exhibition. We have in total 40 big-size showcases and 15 humidifiers and 34 dehumidifiers. So the humidifiers you see here highlighted in blue are placed in technical areas outside the showcases, while the dehumidifiers are installed inside the showcases. So these machines communicate via sensors. The positioning of this unit is limited both by architectural features and the layout of the exhibition. Some humidifiers are dedicated to one single display case, as you can see on the top right corner, and others serve a chain of 2 to 3 cases, as you can see on the lower right and left corner. Because the equipment has no automated control, its operation is based on regular staff intervention. Conservators must remain alert to outdoor weather, seasonal shift, and visitor patterns, all of which influence the environment inside the display cases. This requires flexibility and frequent interruption to other duties, highlighting the level of hands-on involvement that was not anticipated during the planning phase. So, graphs and data loggers show stability, but that stability depends on the ongoing work of knowledgeable staff who monitor condition and respond in real time. Recognizing this human dimension early in the planning process is essential for designing systems that are realistic and sustainable. So from a conservation standpoint, Norrbor presents challenges due to the large number of objects on display, their material diversity, including organic and inorganic materials, operational limitation of the system, as you have just heard, the variable indoor climate condition, and also there was no unified approach to the climate from the very beginning. So, what's the strategy here and how to define climate set points? So I will give you a brief summary of how our thinking has evolved during these past 2 years. The conservation team adopted across the exhibition a compromise range of 40% RH plus minus 5 within 24 hours. In this approach, material assessment was key. 40% was an in-between value, a careful compromise to meet both metal objects prone to corrosion at high RH and organic material like textile, leather, and wood, more sensitive to low RH. While this compromise offered a theoretical balance, it proved to be very resource-intensive to maintain. So we start to ask us, are we controlling risk or just controlling numbers? In 2025, the museum shifted strategy to embracing a more flexible, risk-based approach. This approach allows RH to fluctuate naturally as long as the variation stays within plus minus 10% over 24 hours, following the guidelines outlined in the Bissau Green Protocol updated in 2023. And for the one of you in the audience who does not know the Bissau Green Protocol, it is a set of shared guidelines by major international museums to reduce the environmental impact of art loans and exhibition. It basically pushes museums to care for both cultural heritage and our planet. So we decided to move forward with a pilot test of this approach. We had the fortune to have in-house a master student in preventive conservation from the Royal Academy of Copenhagen. Anna Clement is her name, and she's writing a master thesis about decision-making for climate control in historic museum environments. So I propose Anna to help us conducting a pilot test in one of Nordbur showcase. A pilot test of this approach was performed during fall-winter 2025 in a showcase containing a representative group of objects from the 1930s. Tables, chairs, medical devices, paintings, toys, and books. The goal was to evaluate climate stability and risk, staff workload and alarm frequency, water consumption, and overall sustainability. So by widening the set points, we introduce a dead zone where the system remains in standby, and this allows temperature and RH to drift more naturally, resulting in a smoother curve that you see on the right, rather than tight, small fluctuations. During the test period, done in December 2025, the temperature stayed stable between 16.85 and 20.44 degrees, with a maximum daily fluctuation of 1 degree. And RH remained between 42.9 and 49.9, with a max daily fluctuation of 3%, staying within the intended limits. So, compared with the 4 weeks before the test, the pilot produced, and this was very interesting for me as well, 0 alarm and 0 staff intervention, while also reducing manual water handling for the humidifier. And here, 6:1 means like the time the conservator needs to empty the tank. And each tank is about 10 liters of water. So, this test indicates that operating the climate system with broader set points and a wider operational setting can maintain acceptable preservation conditions while significantly reducing system and staff workload. Overall, the pilot indicates that a flexible risk-informed approach can maintain stable conditions, reduce the operational burden, and support more sustainable day-to-day climate management in the Nordbur exhibition. This approach does not lower standards. On the contrary, it broadens the understanding of what climate management can look like in different contexts. More flexible, risk-based strategies allow seasonal variation, focus on the rate of change, and consider the needs of mixed collections. The pilot test was performed on other showcases with different technical setup, and the same positive results were noticed on those as well. So what's next for climate management, and what are we taking with us into future planning? Working so closely, hands-on, with the climate system has been for us a mixed experience. Challenging, yes, and it's been resource-intensive and sometimes very stressful, especially with unexpected changes in the weather. So if at the beginning the system felt like almost a big failure, actually it was a great eye-opening. Because the system isn't fully automatized, we, Conservators, became the computer who manually had to adjust and learning how things actually work. So this hands-on experience showed us that operating the climate system with broader set points really reduce energy, water production, and staff workload. So I hope that sharing this experience plant a little seed in each of us, and because it is very easy to write on a loan request a very specific value, a specific number. But what does that mean? How much energy and water are we using in our storage facilities, in our museums? Looking ahead, the Nordiska Museet is working towards a more holistic and sustainable approach to climate planning. Not just at the technical system, but how all parts of the organization and environment interact. So if you ever will need to work with the planning of a climate system, I recommend you to read through this chain of action. What I learned from the experience with Norbur is that it's very important to have early cross-disciplinary collaboration. It's important to be there, to sit on that table and there to talk and explain, have clear and realistic long-term goals, align priorities across departments, how do we merge collection, care needs with the public department need, and perhaps the most important, a very well-defined maintenance plan, maintenance roles, and budget. The climate system that you see here was not so expensive compared to other ones, but its maintenance is not cheap. So my hope is that by creating a culture of shared responsibility, we build resilience, not just for us in Nordiska Museet, but for any museum trying to balance preservation with real museum life limitations. So if you want to read more about what's going on at Nordiska Museet with the climate, I recommend you to get in contact with Anna Clement. Here is her email and my email as well. Soon her master thesis will be published within a few weeks. It's called Decision Making for Climate Control in Historic Museum Environments, a case study of practical challenges facing the conservator. Thank you.
Thank you, Chiara. It really was a very interesting and very impressive presentation. Maybe I have the first the question very practically. And when I saw in your charts, there are a lot of figures. But one of the figures is very interesting for us. It's humidity. How do you control this humidity percentage? For example, what you are doing if this comes below 40 or comes 30, even 30 in wintertime? What the practical things you are doing in your organization?
Yes. So as I show, we have, as you saw, like two sets of machines. We have like humidifiers and dehumidifiers. So we do basically, the point here of my presentation is that at the beginning we were very stressed because, like, you know, it's so nice to have the luxury of like a computerized climate system where you set the values and then just can sit and relax. But because it's an historic building, it was not possible to do that kind of intervention, so we had to go this way. And there are like data loggers in each showcase that are with the cloud connected to our phones, so if something happens, we can see always everything very quickly and easily, so we have access to those data. And we have like a preventive conservator, which is the coordinator of the climate, and then you cannot rely on one person. So I had to like build up knowledge, and like we have 5 people in my team that know very well how this works and got to experience and read more about the climate maintenance. So if you want to know more like practicals, hands-on how it works, we have like a daily check of the climate in the museum, and then 3 times a week we do also a physical round of this, because it's still machines and there are risks that comes with it. So we actually physically go and check the machines, that there is no water leakage, for example, and all those kind of things.
But anyhow, the decision is making personally, not automatically.
Exactly. And the point of my presentation, what I want you to take with you, is not to focus on numbers, because, I mean, it's different depending on the context, where are you in the world. In Stockholm, it's very dry. We don't have like a big issue with high humidity, as I heard you have here. So it's you have to see that, and you have to take with you the fact that because we had to struggle and deal with the machine ourselves, we conservators had to understand how this works. The interesting thing here is that we noticed that at the beginning we were very stressed, and we were like, oh my God, this is such a big responsibility. We have to be careful. There is so much object on display. How do we do this? We want to have a narrow corridor, because that was what felt safe. But from a management point of view, it was really unsustainable. It was a lot of alarms. We had to change and from the graph I showed you before, you see also that I thought was very interesting how the temperature and like how there are small tight fluctuation. It stays there, but the machine works all the time. By allowing our conservator to relax a little bit and set the machines with a wider range, then this has happened, like everything was like in standby. Still we protected the margin, but we allowed the temperature and the range to fluctuate slightly more naturally. Still, we didn't see this huge fluctuation that we were afraid of. But what we saw was that water consumption, for example, was hugely less. And that was really what shook me a little bit, and I want to share that and talk with the community, because we don't see how the machine works in our storage facilities. We just set the values. We don't see how much water is produced. So maybe that's one shift in things in our community. Maybe we should start to investigate a bit more and dare to try.
Thank you, and thank you for your sharing your experience in this field. Maybe colleagues, maybe somebody has a questions.
Hi. Good morning. Thank you for your presentation. I'm Simona from National Museum of Lithuania. As far as I understand, this deals mostly with the costs of running a climate control system. But did you notice any changes in the state of the objects?
Very good question. So scientifically, we haven't done any precise research, but we have a routine in the museum. We do like very tight visual controls in our exhibition. We do not just leave the exhibition and forget about it. So in Nordiska exhibition, which is very big, 3 times a year, we have dedicated conservators that go inside and check the object that maybe we are more afraid of. For example, we are stressed about the metal objects. So we take a very good documentation, and it's a visual observation, so there is no scientific research. So that will be very nice if there will be more research about that, because as a conservator, you always feel stress, and you want to be sure you do the right things. So that's how we do it. We monitor visually 3 times a year. We take pictures and we document everything in protocols that update on our database.
Thank you so much. Very interesting. I'm Heiti Kulmar. I'm from Tallinn City Museum, and I also deal in preventive conservation. So I had an extra question about the devices. Do you have you purchased them for the museum, or do you rent them? Because an extra step with all these humidifiers and dehumidifiers is that they keep breaking down all the time. And how have you solved it? Are they rental devices that it's handled through the company that also maintains them? Or does the museum also deal with all the repairs and has bought them into the inventory?
Mm-hmm. So we purchased the machines, both the 15 humidifier and 35 dehumidifiers, and we purchased them from a Swedish company called Conservators. And if you are interested in the machine, I can also give you all the technicalities. And we have a contract with this company once a year. They come in and they do maintenance of the machine. And I spoke with Christina yesterday because she was also interested, and we compared prices, and apparently it's much cheaper, like what the price. So it's not so expensive. They come, they do check the machine, they clean it, and they change the filters. And usually we do that in a document, like first here, we were a bit unsure, when are we going to do that? Because to be able to do that, the machine cannot work. So during summertime, when the RH is naturally higher, then those humidifiers actually are not working. So that's when usually we do that practice. So we have now documented like manual of the climate system, where we draw like a yearly schedule, and so the team knows when to call them and do this.
Thank you. I had another question. Considering some items or objects have very sensitive requirements and others are a little more broad, do you also use passive climate control for like some showcases that are inside another area, for like with silica gel or absorbents?
Yeah, we do have that. We use ProSorb, but in these showcases I show you, which are like huge, it's like big rooms. It's not possible to use ProSorb. It's like they are not. It will take a huge amount of cassette of ProSorb. And if you ever work with silica gel, it's also that takes a lot of time and maintenance to regenerate. So we use ProSorb for small to medium size display cases, but for those kind of showcases, it's not working.
But how much were the conservators included in planning the exhibition? Because often they think of all the items to put into the showcases, but only ask later what the conditions are, or like, can I put this medieval leather shoe in with this iron box or something? You know?
No, actually, on that, I am proud of saying that there was a very thorough went it through, like the list of objects. So the conservator really went through like all the selection from the curatorial department, and because we knew that it was a permanent exhibition, we had to say no to some objects. But some of them are unique and important and tell like a specific story. Nordiska Museet is not a fine art museum, it's a cultural history museum, and it's important like we really tell the story of the people. So for those kind of objects, we also have, now we are working with a rotation plan. So that's the way we are doing it.
Thank you. Nice to hear.
Anybody?
Yeah,
Anybody
okay.
has a
Just
questions?
one more question. I wanted to ask if you had any objects on loan in that showcase, because requirements for loans, they are not getting looser.
Very good question. No, I mean, it's like we have only 2 objects on loan from the Historiska Museum in Stockholm, and we did agree on those. Yeah, exactly, you're right. So that's why we need to talk more about this and do more research and dare to test. And because, for example, now we are working on an upcoming exhibition where we will have a lot of international loans from big museums from the States, from Italy, from Greece. And yeah, it's a different request. Yeah, so that's where we are today, and that's the shift, and let's see where we are heading.
I have a question, Krishans Rimshans, metal restorer. Do you measure also pollutants in the air?
Yeah, sorry, you ask about filters?
Just like monitoring in general for pollutions.
We have monitored like at the beginning, and we have not seen big like alarming result, but we have like a system of filters in the ventilations, both like for VOC and HEPA filters.
So, thank you, Chiara. Maybe somebody has a question. Okay, I have a last question, maybe if it's possible. You have a very, very big experience in the Nordic climate museum, but you also from Italy. Maybe you have compared some challenges. It's a very big difference with museums, for example, in the warm climate zone and in the cold climate zone.
Absolutely. And I am from the south of Italy, so it's extremely humid, but also it's a poor country than Sweden, especially Sicily. So we are not so privileged there to have like the money and the resources to, just take some decision. So it's a lot of things that then when reality hits you, then you have to find, as a conservator, really be open-minded and creative and so on. So in Sicily, it's really different struggles, both from an IPM perspective and with climate and so on. Cannot be compared with Sweden.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Chiara. And maybe if somebody has a questions, you can ask after in a coffee break team or in breaks.
Thank you.
And,